Hi, I'm Gwen Preston of Resource Maven here with Beneath the Surface. I've got Eric Coffin with me for a chat today about the markets and some opportunities to explore new investing ideas in the sector. So just to start talking about the sector a bit, there's been some interesting moves. Today's Wednesday, May 13th, and gold popped a bunch this morning on some weak economic data that to me just looked like additional confirmation of the same sorts of trends that we've been seeing of late.
Yeah, I think it's, as you know, you and I talk fairly often, I've been kind of disappointed that gold hasn't reacted better to a weakening dollar.
Absolutely.
But I think there was this backdrop, it has been for the last month, where bond yields were actually going up. It was a strange, the markets have actually been quite weird. The bond yields were going up at the same time. But certainly bond traders were trading like they were still, okay, we're still going to stick to the script, June rate increase,
right.
Yada, yada, yada. April retail sales come out this morning. They weren't good. It was basically flat. It's getting very difficult to sell the idea that there's going to be this second quarter bounce like there was last year. Right now, there's no bounce, and I think it seemed to finally get through to people this morning because suddenly gold's up $25.
Yeah, absolutely. So that really helps on that's sort of the macro setup of things. When we focus in a bit more on the mining sector, there's been some interesting developments since you and I last spoke here, at least. Yeah. If we look at gold, has been trading very sideways, but things like the GDX and the GDXJ have been increasing. So it looks like money's coming into gold equities, even if gold isn't climbing, which feels great. It feels like a positive sign in the sector.
I think we've seen. One thing that I've noticed in the first quarter results is you have seen, and they're mainly the smaller guys, really, the companies like Claude, whatever, small companies like that, they've kind of been delivering.
Yeah.
After 3 years of cost cutting and going through the hell they've all been going through, it looks like it's finally starting to pay off, and it looks like traders are noticing the fact that even with a flat gold price, there's a bunch of these companies in the sector that will probably put up better numbers. And then, of course, if you get a gold price increase, that's gravy.
Exactly. Yeah, and the numbers are, people are posting profits. The smaller miners are maybe small profits, but they're positive, and they're not because of asset sales or things like that. They're just straight, honest production numbers.
Yeah, better grades or efficiencies or both.
Yeah. And then there's been some, a little bit more merger and acquisition activity. Since we last chatted, there was the deal for Mega Precious Metals, which was interesting. Yesterday there was the merger between Crocodile and Newmarket, which was another interesting kind of deal. So,
Orico, a couple of other ones.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that certainly bodes well for the sector.
Yeah, I think those sorts of M&A activity frees up money in the sector ultimately. And
creates excitement.
And it just basically somebody owning a stock that goes up 40% because there's a takeover offer tends to get a person interested in looking for the next one. I think it would be fair to say we'd all agree that it's been a bit light on the financing side still.
Yes.
And I'm hoping today is the start of a few days of better gold prices, because I think we really need that to kind of give everybody a push before the spring financing season closes.
I definitely know a lot of management teams that are out there looking to close financings right now, and it's one of those it might work, and if it does, then we can drill, and that'll be great, and if it doesn't, then things get a little bit hung up.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've noticed, and I wrote a little bit about it maybe last week or the week before, is that sometimes now good news coming out, like a company putting out good news, is actually getting rewarded by the marketplace. Like a company puts out a good update to their PEA or a resource estimate, and they actually get a lift instead of it just being a liquidity event and the shares going down.
Yeah, it's interesting. Three or four of the companies that I follow have actually had quite. They're off terrible bases, granted, but they've had very nice moves off good news, and I think I can say in all of those cases, talking to management before and after the event, management, like everybody, was just going, oh yeah, great, it'll be another liquidity event, we'll put out this great news and nobody will care, and it'll go up at half a cent on a bazillion shares. And in most cases, some of these things have gone up 30 or 40% off a low base, but again, that you can't get money back in the sector unless people see stocks do that. It's completely fair of investors to say, well, if nothing they do makes any difference, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
We need to see those kind of gains, and we're finally starting to see them. I think we are seeing the wheat and the chaff get separated too. I mean, again, that's something, it has to happen. Like the guys that aren't going to do anything have to be ignored, and the much smaller group of good companies, they get what all of the attention there is to get, and that's how it should be.
Absolutely. I mean, you and I are working together on an event that's coming up at the end of May. It's called the Metals Investor Forum, and it's directed towards exactly that idea, that this is the opportunity. Stocks are beaten down. There's pretty widespread agreement at this point that this is the bottom, and not just the bottom, but looking like the start of a bit of a liftoff. So what are the cream of the crop companies that will get the most lift when the market starts to go?
Yeah, I mean, the Metal Investor Forum is it's very much the type of event that I think makes sense in this cycle. I mean, you and I have talked about this before too, and I think in order for these events to work, they have to be small, structured, and you have to give both sides what they want. What the companies want is to be talking to an audience of people that actually care about what they say, and that they may or may not do anything with that information immediately, but it's a receptive audience because they are subscribers of ours that are obviously being subscribers. They are interested in these companies. On the other side, subscribers like to go to these events because they're nice, they're one day, they're set up, but also they know in the other direction the companies are also filtered, and it's not going to be 600 no-hopers going up and down the aisle in this giant space. It's 10 or 12 or 13 companies picked by 3 or 4 newsletter writers who say, okay, I'm going to look at my best ideas, and that's who's going to talk to you today.
Absolutely. And even though the company count in the junior exploration sector has come down, there still are a lot of tales being told out there. So it is difficult still to really separate. So if we, with our newsletter writing friends, can really home in on the ones that we think are the best, and then give investors the opportunity to meet the management in sort of like a small environment, that's so important because there's interesting projects all over the place. There's companies that have fairly good structures, but it's the people at the end of the day that really matter. Can they get it done? And you can't really be the judge of that unless you've had a chance to converse with them yourself.
Yeah, and the event is intentionally, we structure it, and the agenda is set up so that there's 2 hours plus of breaks in the middle of this thing, and the whole point to that is you get to go and talk to these management groups after they've done a presentation, and make sure that you think they can get the job done, and if you got follow-up questions, obviously you can do that. And companies that I've done these events with in the past really like them because investors do in fact follow up and pay attention and follow the story.
Yeah. So the Metals Investor Forum is happening May 30th here in Vancouver. Eric will be there speaking. I will be there. So will Brien Lundin and John Kaiser, and a group of our top pick companies. If you'd like more information, contact any of us, and we can definitely give you that information. And hopefully we can see you there and come on by and hear what we have to say about the markets at the same time.
Yeah, keep in mind that seats have gone to subscribers first. So if you're interested, don't wait till the last minute because seating is actually limited on these things. We've set it up to be limited seating, and our subscribers have already taken most of the seats. So don't wait.
All right, thanks very much, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.